Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. Today is Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. I'm Gianni Di Poce, your host, and we started off this week with quite a bang from a geocosmic standpoint. We had Venus opposite Saturn over the weekend, and then we came into this week with an opposition between Venus and Neptune the same day that Venus ingressed into the sign of Libra, the same day that Pluto went direct. Then we had a grand trine between Venus, Pluto, and Uranus, and then we're looking forward to Sun uh, making a hard aspect to Jupiter at the end of the week. So it's actually going to be a square. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Take a look at what's going on in stocks. We had that big rally yesterday in the Dow, and interestingly, we did take out last week's low in the Dow, not in the Nasdaq, in the S&P, which could be a pretty good sign here, especially considering that one of our rules is to look for a market declining into a hard aspect between Venus and Saturn to stage a reversal. That worked late last week. But so far today here, we are fading off the highs. We'll see if that holds. You take a look at what's going on in the NASDAQ 100, you are seeing it outperform here, but in the cash index, you are below where you finished the day. Now, we are coming back into earnings season. You did have Fed Chair Powell yesterday say that quantitative tightening is basically coming to an end and that there is some weakness showing up in the labor market. Now, this is all pointing towards more interest rate cuts, which should be a tailwind for technology and stocks to continue higher, especially. We just updated our outlook for stocks, bonds, commodities, currencies, and more in this month's monthly cycles report that was issued over the last couple of days across different markets. So I like what's going on here. Also keeping an eye on Tesla, which is coming into its earnings next week. That's looking strong. And also be mindful that, Apple has not made a new all-time high this year. So that's something to keep an eye on. But that's really what's going on in stocks. You're still seeing good leadership from semiconductors. The AI trade does seem alive and well for now. And as long as that continues, it should help to keep stock prices afloat. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in bonds. We're seeing long-term treasuries see a solid rally, unsurprising given the directional change of Pluto, which rules debt. Also unsurprising based on Powell's latest comments yesterday that, hey, interest rates are coming down. We'll see how low they can go. It is interesting in the sense that the government continues to be shut down here in the United States, and it's really been not talked about that much as it has been compared to past instances. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Crude oil still failing to sustain any sort of bid. We had that opposition between Venus and Neptune here lately, and that failed to produce a meaningful reversal. And now we have Sun square Jupiter coming up later this week, and we'll see if that can stage a reversal in crude oil. But we are looking for that big bottom in the energy market sometime. Once Saturn and Neptune start to separate from one another in the late degrees of Pisces, early degrees of Aries. But that's what we're looking at on that front. Very interesting action happening in the currency market. MMA analyst Ulrich Aspergen's been all over this. Meaningful reversal during the Grand Trine from Venus, Pluto, and Uranus. Also had Venus aspected quite a bit in this period. So focus on currencies. Venus moving into Libra, opposite Saturn, opposite Neptune. And we did indeed see what appears to be another lower high in the US dollar. So you're seeing both the euro and the Japanese yen experience pretty impressive rallies right now. We'll see if that holds. If it does, it should continue to support the international equity outperformance. Still keeping a close eye on China. European markets like Germany still looking pretty good for the time being, and that could have another run to the upside if the dollar weakness continues. Obviously, gold and silver continue to move in a parabolic manner. Mars is still in Scorpio, historically bullish for precious metals, and this is a rally that has defied many expectations. Both gold and silver hitting new all-time highs, parabolic rally. We need to be attentive here for a sharp reversal, perhaps Sun square Jupiter could do the trick. Gold typically does not like Jupiter all that much, but we did come into this week with a Neptune aspect, and gold does like Neptune. So that explains the continued rally to the upside. I do want to take a look at what's going on in crypto. Very interesting price action here. Because it's been a little bit weaker than I would have expected otherwise, especially during this period of geocosmic activity. Bitcoin did take out that low from early September during Friday's sell-off in the cash market, which is showed here. Futures did not take out that low, but then you look at Ethereum, which also took out that low in the cash market, did not in futures, and then Bitcoin took out last week's low in the futures market. Ethereum did not take out last week's low in the futures market. Now we have Venus and Libra, which tends to be a tailwind for Ethereum. So we'll see if that sticks. Also coming out of that grand trine with Venus, Uranus, and Pluto. So I will say this, if crypto is not going to start participating to the upside with stocks, it could warn of some issues with respect to the market's risk appetite. But for now, we'll give it a little bit of time to wiggle around and see if it can stabilize. We did have a good response off of that low from Friday. The biggest crypto liquidation in history, bigger than FTX, bigger than Lunasol. Traders blew up. Pluto changed direction. Pluto rules leverage. Not surprised to see that happening. But a bit of caution is warranted near term in crypto until we can get the confirmation signal that another low of significance is complete. So that's what I'm looking at in this market right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Astro is going to quiet down a little bit after this week until we get into the early part of November. So let's see which trends take hold here. That's all for now, everyone. As a reminder, we did just publish our latest edition of the monthly cycles report earlier this week, and the Merriman Market Timing Academy. We're going to be starting the 4th class this weekend. It's still not too late to join. Send us an email at customerservice@mmacycles.com if you're still interested in joining us in this remarkable journey. So that's all for now, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please hit the like button and the subscribe. We'll be back same time, same place next week.